Welcome to the Easter and opening day series of Yankees Coast to Coast. I am your host, Mike Carbone, and I've got Blake Blackburn in Los Angeles and Auden Mitchell out in New York City, and we're here to talk Yankees baseball with you guys. Personally, just wanted to apologize for the lack of content here lately. As most of you guys know, we have a life outside of this, and some schedule contradictions have led us to not having an episode here in a few weeks. But I tell you what, we are super excited to talk about this opening series, and let's go and get right into that, man. Game one, opening day. A lot of us were pretty nervous. Down 4-0 to start the game out. I mean, that was really quick. And, if you follow along on Twitter, X, everyone was, pretty upset, and rightfully so. No one wants to, be down 4-0 from the jump, especially against the Astros. That was pretty frustrating. But the fact that, Nestor really dug deep for us, that really, allowed the team to rally around. And that was kind of the series in a nutshell. Blake, what'd you think about it?
Yeah, man, there's always that added excitement going into a new season, the nerves and everything associated with opening day. It's a lot of excitement. And then when you fall behind 4-0 like that, it kind of, stabs you a little bit and, makes you think, oh man, like season's not going to be like this. Right. But like you said, slow start from Nestor, but he was able to kind of hang in there, get some outs, and hand the ball over to a bullpen, which was absolutely phenomenal over the course of this entire series, even with a lot of new names out there. But, I give the guys credit. They battled back all weekend. They were down a lot this weekend and found ways to win, things that, hadn't happened for us in the past. We were on the right side of some of those big plays. Some may call them lucky, like some of the stuff here and there, but just a little bit of different vibe, especially against a team like Houston, who's had our number the past 4 years. So this is a great start to the season. You couldn't ask for anything better, especially without your ace and Garrett Cole going out there.
Yeah, Stroman, another pitcher who was excellent. 6 innings, no earned runs. Obviously gave 3 runs. The defense was a little shaky that game, but there are so many headlines from the series you could pick. You can say we swept the Astros, and then Juan Soto in itself, his name is a headline. Incredible, this series, just right off the bat of the season. Incredible.
It's exactly what you wanted when you bring him over, right? And everybody's already talking about blank check.
Yeah, shoot, you got to give it to him after this series. He truly has had a domino effect on just the entire lineup. Besides the only spot that was kind of a little bit frustrating was Judge was pretty much non-existent this series. He had that one double, but other than that, he hit a ball hard today too when he lined out to Altuve. But other than that, I think he had 2 hits in 4 games, which obviously not going to cut the mustard. But everyone else, though, he was still working the count as well. He had a lot of full counts still this series, so that was good to see. But yeah, I felt like we were just laying off a lot of junk this series. Just swinging at strikes, and it's just simple as that. If you could just do that, it goes a long way. And I just really feel like Soto's kind of had this rub off effect throughout the entire lineup. Like Volpe, that's another great example of someone who his approach was his change of approach has been. I noticed it right away. The way he was working counts and, just swinging at strikes and, his swing's more compact, more level, and not so pull happy. He's hitting the ball where it's pitched, and, that's going to, personally, I think that's going to get him in the leadoff spot here pretty soon. Personally, I'd rather see Glaber in the 5 or 6 spot anyway, but we'll see what happens. But, like I said, Juan Soto just, what can you say? I think to quote Alex Verdugo after the game today, he's just a dog, man.
Dog.
He just is. He's a dog. Yeah, not a D-O-G,
We got a lot of dogs.
D-A-W-G, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's that guy. And, he really just has that trickle down effect throughout the rest of the clubhouse. I mean, it's the clubhouse too. I mean, it's just gelled so well. Like we talked about, like the guys taking pictures with their watches after the game, stuff like that. Little things you wouldn't see last year.
It's a different
We.
swagger.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how, it's definitely, kind of just a different culture that came in. Guys that play with a lot of passion. Stroman, Soto, Verdugo, all those guys, they play hard and they let you know about it. So I truly could not be more happy. I mean, if you told me that we were going to sweep Houston in Houston in 4 games like that, the way we came back, I mean, I'm over the moon, truly, right now.
I personally, I would have told you you're crazy if you told me, hey,
Yeah.
we're going to go in there and sweep Houston. I mean, nothing against our guys, right? But I mean, it's just a place over the past few years that hasn't really been too kind to us. And to be able to go down there and start the season, and how everything kind of played out, it's great. I mean, I know there's 158 games to go, right? But you can't ask for a better start than that. And you talked about Soto and the effect he had on the team. We saw it right away. Driving in our first run of the season, getting on base 3 times opening day. Of course, saving the game with that outfield assist there in the ninth inning, which was definitely exciting and definitely just what a player, right? Like this is why we got him. It's exactly why we brought him here, and he's affected a lot of the guys. You talk about Oswaldo, who's man, he wasn't even going to be a starter on this team, and then DJ went down. He comes right up, and man, he's out there looking like prime Barry Bonds, right? Like hitting a couple home runs, driving in some runs this opening series, man. Happy for him. He's a good kid, man, and he's finally getting the opportunity, and he's making the most of it so far.
Speaking of Oswaldo and DJ, that whole third base situation, it's something that needs to be further discussed throughout the year. Obviously, now that DJ's out with the foot fracture. But how about John Birdie with that incredible play today?
Oh yeah, I mean that was definitely us. I mean, we've been talking, or it was kind of one of those things like he wasn't even supposed to play today because Volpe had that stomach bug, but I mean his debut's kind of been pushed back just because of the impact Oswaldo's had in the lineup. I mean, you can't take the hot bat out, and in years past, that was a scheduled thing, and they were going to stick with it. But this year it seems like things are a little bit different. I mean, there's no off day, off travel day, so usually days like today there'd be a punt lineup. But all of our guys were in there today. Judge was in the field. Usually they'd at least put him at DH or something like that. So I mean, the whole trickle down effect is just in full effect. I mean, I can't put it any other way. But yeah, going back to Birdie, I mean, I was really excited when we traded for him. A guy that puts the ball in play a lot. He's versatile. He's got speed, and in years past, that's something that we've lacked. And it's really good to see that we've just got such a well-rounded team. And
It showed.
yeah,
It showed.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
a team that's historically, at least in recent history, have really relied on that home run ball, and they did honestly exactly the opposite of that this weekend. They hit a few home runs this weekend, but they scored a lot of runs without the home run, and they were putting the ball in play and making the Astros defense make plays, and they weren't making those plays, especially on Friday's game. A few runs coming in on errors from some of their infield guys, and just putting the ball in play. It's a lot of the games strike out and home run now, but putting the ball in play is still so important, in my opinion. It puts pressure on the defense, forces them to make a play, and getting some guys in our team that are going to do that is just going to go that much better for us.
That just further
absolutely.
emphasizes the dramatic impact of Juan Soto. I mean, it's just been 4 games, but the guy has an OBP of 600. That's ridiculous. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, but with opening day, we came back 1-5-4. I mean, the Soto outfield assist, Waldo with the first home run of the season. I guarantee you that wasn't on anyone's bingo card. And
No,
you
not
know,
at all.
Holmes was a little bit shaky. Um, he got us into a little bit of trouble here today. We got out of it. A couple of hard hit balls that were caught. But
Man, I held my breath on that Alvarez fly ball there. That
oh
was,
yeah, I hold my
you
breath
know,
every time that guy comes to the plate. I
oh,
mean, there's
me too, man. It
yeah, I
seems
mean
like
that guy.
almost every time, and I don't watch Astros baseball, that often unless we're playing them, but it just seems like every time I do see that guy taking that bat, he gets a hit. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, because I think going into opening day in the 22 games he's played against the Yankees, he's homered in 9 of them. So I mean, that guy's just. I mean, I'd love to see him be a Yankee at some point, just because he would just be a perfect fit in Yankee Stadium. He's my favorite Astro player to watch. But anyway, we getting a little bit off topic. But game 2, Yankees win 7-1. Rodon, he hit the velocity was there. That was really encouraging to see. He didn't get quite deep into the game like we hoped he would, but still, the fact he only gave up 1 run, and I believe it was 4 1/3 or 4 2/3.
Yeah, 4 1/3.
4 1/3. So I mean, that was encouraging to see. He dug deep. He didn't have his A stuff, but the velocity was there, which that's something that he didn't necessarily have last year, and he's in way better shape this year. That's something we've talked about in prior episodes about. Hopefully that helps his back and takes a little bit of pressure off of him. It definitely seemed to be, you know, like he was the Rodon of old, not quite, but definitely a great start for the year for him to dig deep like that. And obviously, he's a guy that pitches with a lot of intensity. So, you know, great to see that. Stanton, he hit his first home run of the year. That's great to see. Definitely took advantage of some defensive miscues from Houston. Something that
Yeah.
they're notorious for playing good defense. So the fact that we were able to get that, we'll take it. But hey, we only held them to 1 run, though. I mean, the bullpen
Yeah.
this entire
Bullpen's been
series. I
great.
mean, you look back and they average less than 3 runs a game. I mean, what else can you say about this
Yeah.
bullpen? I mean, it's truly so underrated. I mean, I don't know how many times I saw like preseason rankings for bullpens. We weren't even in the top 10. We led the
Yeah.
MLB and ERA last year in the bullpen. So I mean,
And
shoot,
we've seen it a lot recently. I mean, just plugging guys into the bullpen, and Matt Blake is just doing his thing, man. He's turning these guys into some studs, man. I'll talk about Ian Hamilton, man.
yeah,
That guy's got some nasty stuff, man. Coming in, hadn't given up a run yet, of course, like we talked about. Came in, pitched about 3 innings, I think 3 innings, and got 3 strikeouts as well. I mean, his stuff's look good, man. He's got some velocity too, throwing 98 up to 98, 99, I think, and
with movement,
dude, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it's awesome. And then going on game 2, man. I know Oswaldo we talked about him hitting that first home run in opening day, but 4 for 5 with three runs driven in game 2. Just just giving Boone a reason to keep playing him.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think you ride that going into the Arizona series. You know, Birdie, he had a clutch hit today as well to kind of get the boys going a little bit. But I'm still sticking with Oswaldo at least going into that series. Like I know sometimes you like to play matchups and you can play devil's advocate, but right now I'd say he's feeling really confident. See what happens.
Looks like he's going full time lefty too,
Yeah, yeah, which I think that'll be a good thing for him. Some
especially at
guys,
home.
yeah, so some guys they can, you know, some guys just they were better off just sticking with one side of the plate, and then there's definitely an argument that it's definitely easier to hit some guys from the other side of the plate, but for the most part, though, I feel like if you're perfecting your craft with one side of the plate, I feel like that can be easier to maintain than both sides of the plate because I always think it's funny how, you could feel so good on one side of the plate and then just feel so lost on the other side of the plate. Like, I mean, I remember,
Yeah,
like growing up, like Mark Teixeira, for instance, like they'd show his splits, left-handed versus right-handed. Like one year he was so good right-handed, and the next year was left-handed, or, and it's
yeah, it's
really just
interesting.
it is very funny how that works. So I think that'll simplify things for him, and for the most part, you're going to see more right-handed pitchers anyway. So if you are going to stick with one side, I feel like that's the side to do it, and that's his natural side anyway, I believe. So
Right.
So we'll see if he sticks with that too. If he ditches it for good, I'm definitely for that.
It's obviously working.
Yeah, so far so good. And then game three, Marcus Stroman's debut. I mean, I feel like he pitched the best out of all the starters this series.
Definitely.
Had a little bit of bad luck in terms of some defensive miscues. I mean, the only flaw from Oswaldo this series was that E5 he made on that. Got kind of lazy on that throw to first base and really just a can of corn, and that kind of set up things for that Dubon 2-run double, which those runs were not earned. That was a bit tough. But other than that, I mean, he gave us 6 innings, which that was the most anyone went this series. Because Clark went 5 2/3 today, right?
Something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so almost.
Yeah.
I mean, so Clark definitely pitched well today.
Yeah.
He definitely
He turned it on back half of last year too, when he
he
became kind
did.
of a
Yeah,
full
he
time guy,
did.
and he was really good. But um, yeah, man, game three was just another exciting game. I want to talk about Wells, man. I mean, small sample size, of course, but he's 2 for 6. He's drawn 3 walks. He's been on base. So I mean,
Yeah.
another young guy coming in early and contributing. You love to see it.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely love the platoon situation they've got going between him and Trevino. Which, by the way, I mean Trevino, he had an RBI hit today as well. So that was nice to
Little
see.
blooper that fell.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
get us on the board early. Our
yeah,
first time we scored first this year. But
yeah. I'll take it where you can get it. So I mean, I definitely like the dynamic they've got going right now. Both of those guys get somewhat consistent at bats, as well as they're both rested too. You know, I like that. If they could both play 81 games, that'd be awesome. Honestly,
I feel Wells is going to be the
he'll
guy
be the
that gets
guy.
you that offense, right? And Trevino is obviously can't say enough about his defense, right? So to have 2 catchers who can kind of contribute on both sides, it's nice, and I think it's going to be a good little platoon.
Well, then late into the games that Trevino starts, you're obviously gonna have that pinch hitter late in the game where Trevino comes out and you have Wells coming in after. So
Yeah,
For sure. I definitely think that's something they have to navigate in terms of, because that's obviously the most taxing position. So we'll see how they go about that. But for the most part, though, it seems like they've got a pretty good dynamic in terms of, matching up with, who's pitching for the opposing team that day, and then, who do the pitchers prefer catching. I mean, obviously, pitchers probably prefer Trevino to catch just because he's just that good of a defender and calls a good game. But Wells I feel like he's pretty
platinum.
underrated defensively as well as I mean there was several times where he blocked a few pitches that saved Stroman's bacon on Saturday. I was very impressed with his blocking, and it seemed like he called a pretty good game too. So I mean I was very impressed with him defensively, which definitely is a little bit on the back burner just because everyone talks about his calling cards, his bat, and we've seen the raw power he has, but his plate discipline was awesome, and I just can't wait to see what he provides for us down the road. He's only going to keep getting better.
yeah, I mean, looking into this Diamondback series we have coming up, it's really just Judge and Glaber that are kind of the red flags of this lineup, and it's only been 4 games. They're going to heat up without a doubt. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, obviously Rizzo and Verdugo coming up with RBI each, getting a few hits, maybe a little more
Yeah,
from them, but they both. I mean, they held their own this series, I'd say. Um, Obviously, I was texting with you guys about Verdugo diving constantly in left field and not coming up with a
He
single
made up
catch
for it a
that,
little bit today
to that game
yeah,
seven catch. Yeah.
to end that game.
But it's so nice to just have a left fielder, like
yeah.
just
A
have a
guy.
guy that can go out there every
Yeah,
day. We haven't had that guy. Now we have one.
Yeah,
yeah.
them
No, I
dogs,
mean,
bro.
love it.
Hey, and talk about this. I know we talked about it on previous episodes in spring training and after we got Soto and Verdugo, man, but just seeing these lineups going out there and just the balance that they have, right?
Yeah,
It's just something we haven't seen in a while. And I mean, it's awesome. I love it. And like we said, I give credit to Boone for sticking with the hot hands, and um, after Saturday's win, not saying, "Hey, we got this series in the bag. Let's just throw whatever out there and get ready for Arizona." Right? He's not doing that. So I mean, I know it's only 4 games. I know there's probably going to be some times where he probably does do it, but um, you know, past couple of years, it really kind of got annoying, at least to me, and to maybe try to get away from that as much as he did, I'm definitely a fan of that, and he showed that early on too. So we'll see what happens throughout the season.
Definitely. I mean, going towards this Arizona series, Luis Hill will throw his first major league pitch in nearly 2 years. Uh, last time he was out, or last time he was out there was against the White Sox in May of 2022. Long time ago, but I mean, I remember how excited I was when he first came up. He was kind of thrown into the fire just because of some injuries, and he really just kind of took the team by storm. I mean, he just, came out with a bunch of velocity. And, obviously, anytime you have a young prospect throws really hard as a starter, that's, you want to see what he's got. And for the most part, he really delivered in 2021. And so, I mean, him getting hurt, the injuries he's had, it's been, definitely have, kind of slowed that momentum a bit. But I'm very excited, just based off the spring training he had. He looked really good, and he earned that 5 spot, with Cole being out. That opened up a lane for him. And, here we are. I'm very excited for this opportunity for him. And then after game one, we've got Nestor going, and then Rodon to finish the series. I'm very intrigued to see how those other two guys, build off that first start. Hopefully we could see a little bit more length from those two guys. If we could get, 5+ from both of them, that'd be really encouraging. Uh, you know, for Nestor, I'm not necessarily as worried about it, just because, I kind of see him more as not quite an opener, but someone that's really more of like a long reliever that starts games. If I mean, as long as he
Yeah.
can just, if we can get him through the lineup 2 times, that's, and then anything more than that's just a bonus. Just because I would like to keep him healthy. I mean, as with the shoulder issues he's had, and I'm still a little iffy on him. I'd like to keep him as healthy as possible. And try to you know minimize any extra stuff that he might have going on that we don't necessarily know about. So, I mean, how many starts did he make last year? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I know he made 28 in 2022, but
Hang
I
on, I
know he
can get a
missed.
number right now.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, while I do that with Nestor, it's really just get him out of the first few innings, and if you can do that scoreless or maybe just a run or two, at
Yeah,
worst,
I mean,
that's all he needs.
first inning's really kind of been his deal. I mean, you get out of the first inning unscathed, and then he kind of settles in a little bit, or even if he gives up a few, like we saw the other night, he settled down, got some outs, got the game to the bullpen, kept it within striking distance, and the boys did their thing.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's kind of what his game was in spring training too. I mean, there were multiple games where he came out and just first inning looked like crap, and I was like, oh god, here's Nestor last year again. Here's what I was worried about. And then he kind of just slowly but surely got his way through these lineups, and definitely encouraging to see from a fan standpoint, and obviously for the team. Uh, what else can you really say?
Yeah, hopefully
He'll
he
be a
strays away from that last year spell
Yeah,
where
yeah,
he pitched 12 games with a 4.97 ERA.
yeah.
So
So
not ideal
definitely
to be
was
started.
was not the guy he was in 21 or 22. So I mean, if we can just get something that's you know high threes from him, that's all I
yeah.
could
And
really
I'm not
ask for.
expecting him to be that guy, right? Because when we're healthy, I know Rodon didn't want to get off of his schedule, so like Nestor's not filling in for Cole as the number one. He's probably not even going to be the number two. If he can give me somewhere, not like like you said, low threes, something like that. But I mean, the way Stroman pitched, I'd even say he's the number four. But you know,
Yeah,
we'll see what happens. But an interesting series against the Diamondbacks coming up, like we said. as crazy as it sounds, they are the defending National League champions. So
Yeah.
early test, if you will, like we had in Houston. And we're facing a couple guys in Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly who are a big factor of why they went so far last year. So it'll
Yeah.
be interesting to see how the boys do in the desert.
Definitely, yeah. I'd like to see Judge get off the schneid tomorrow night. I feel like that's definitely a hitter's friendly park. Ball seems to fly out of that yard pretty good. I'd like to see him
Yeah,
get
the
going. See,
Rangers sure thought so.
yeah, yeah, that, yeah, that offense is humming right now, just coming out the gate as well. So I'm trying to
There's a
think.
lot
We
of good
don't.
teams, man.
Yeah, it's gonna say. The American League. It's pretty top heavy. For the most part. There's gonna be a
Obviously, in
lot
the
of
National League, I don't know how anybody else is going to go through. It's going to be Dodgers or Atlanta. Who else is going to meet? We thought that last year too, man. Obviously, and it was the Arizona Diamondbacks. So you never know.
yeah,
That's the great thing about baseball is it's you got to get hot at the right time, and
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter.
yeah. If you look back, the Braves, they won that one World Series in 21, but a lot of that team's gone now, and for the most
Yeah,
part, they've folded in the postseason. And same thing for the Dodgers, and with Otani, with
they
what's
got that
looming.
one in a 60-game season, but
Yeah, exactly. And I
call
feel
it
like a
what you
lot of
will. But
people, they don't take that too seriously. So both of them still have a lot. Not as much the Braves, but the Dodgers definitely got a lot to prove with how much money they
oh
spent this
yeah,
offseason. And,
I mean, over the next 10 years, if they don't win, multiple World Series, and I'm not talking two, I'm talking three or four, then that's kind of sad if you ask me. Like with the team they have,
yeah,
if they don't do anything with
they
it,
definitely, they've got the most talent. That's, that's pretty undisputed. With that rotation, once they get Otani pitching again, assuming he's going to pitch again, I'm sure that's what they're paying him all that money for. You got Glass now. I
yeah.
think,
Yamamoto had a rough first outing, but he settled down the other night and did all right. So you know they'll be tough to beat, but I'm not worried about the Dodgers until October.
yeah, I was gonna say. We'll see them when we see them. I forget where we're at
Yeah,
on the
we do
schedule.
play them in June in New York.
Yeah, I was gonna say this year they come here. So
That'll be fun, man. It was obviously it was a great environment last summer when I went to the games out here at Dodger Stadium. Obviously, we did take that series too. Unfortunate things also happened in that series, but it was a great atmosphere with two very passionate fan bases, and I don't expect anything less than that when those teams meet up again in the Bronx.
yeah, man, I can't wait. So, any predictions for this series? I got the Yankees winning 2 or 3.
I was going to agree with you. 2 out of 3. I feel like maybe Zach Gallen's the one that is able to tame us a little bit on Tuesday night. But either way, if we sweep them, great. But I think 2 out of 3, and that puts us sitting at a 6-1 going to the home opener, which can't really ask for anything more than that.
I mean, Gallen's definitely gonna be a tough cookie. I know he pitched us pretty tough last year in September. We got to see them at the end of the year with the when the kids got called up. Judge had a 3 home run game against them. So definitely, have something to kind of go back off of from past experience. So that'll definitely help. But a lot of guys, I don't think they've even played in at Chase Field. So it'll be interesting to
Yeah,
see.
it's not a place we play too often.
No, and for some of the older Yankee fans, the
I knew
House
you
of
were going to go
Horrors,
there.
a House of Horrors.
I
So
knew he was going there.
yeah, yeah. Sadly, yeah. Anytime a Yankee fan hears the Diamondbacks, everybody immediately thinks of 2001. So
Luckily, I was
uh,
only 3 years old, and I don't
yeah,
have a memory of that quite. But obviously, that's
yeah. Or you could just be like Auden and not be born then, and just
Yeah.
and truly
yeah.
not even be a thought. So,
But
but
definitely, though,
anyways,
nonetheless, great to be back with you guys. And I was like we said, it's been a while, but Great to be here. Happy baseball's back. I mean, now we
Yeah.
got more stuff to watch when I come home from work and stuff. It's always fun having baseball back on TV and getting to chat it up with you guys, especially with our Yankees and the hot start. It's been great, man. I'm excited.
Yep,
Yeah.
can't wait. All right, fellas, let's go Yanks, and we'll see you guys next week.